say that you have lived your life filled with purpose-fueled passion. March 29th, 2020, my husband saved my life. And I was faced with that question very quickly, and I wasn't expecting to be faced with that question. And I know a lot of times when people have like these close calls, what happens is they like see the white light and they hear like family members like in Harry Potter where they're like, don't go to the light, like come back. And then they wake up and they realize they haven't been living to their full potential. And then they make these huge like life changes and then everything is better. That's not my story. That's not how that happened for me. I don't know like if I was supposed to see the light, but I didn't. I've been kind of intentionally hoarding this story because it felt really personal to me and to my family and to my husband, and it felt like something that needed to stay with us. But since I have been blessed enough to see the rest of 2020 and to live through this just groundhog day of a year that we've been going through, I want to share what that moment has given me and what in turn it has allowed me to give to other people. So for those of y'all that know me from Show It, you know, like Todd said, that I got an award, and James said I got an award from Show It for my best hugs, and that is one of my most proudest moments. That is one of the things that I treasure. It is on a shelf in my office. My office isn't even completely set up, but that award that I won from Show It for best hug is there. And so I want y'all to keep that in mind as we move through this story. So that's my award. I was sitting on the couch and I was working on my laptop, and my husband was in the kitchen making dinner, and he called me twice for dinner, and I was kind of just like, okay, one more picture, babe. I just got one more picture. Like, we all know how that goes. You have one more picture, and then it's 4 o'clock in the morning. And so the third time he called me and said dinner was ready, I said, okay, at this point I'm just being rude, so let me get up and go in the kitchen. I get up and I go to walk to the kitchen, and there's a line where the tile meets the carpet, and it's like, here's the living room, and then the kitchen is that way, and then my office is this way, and I say office. But it was really just the dining room that my husband let me take the table out of. So as I'm walking towards him, he's walking towards me, and he stops at the edge of the tile. I remember as he walked up to me, he said, I haven't given you a hug in a while. That's why this is so important, because if you know me, you know that's not normal for me, to not have hugged my husband in a while. The weirdest part, though, was that I felt the same thing. Right before he said it, that was my thought, like, man, I haven't hugged David in a while. And so he goes to give me a hug, and I put my head on his chest, and I remember thinking that, like, okay, I haven't hugged my husband in a while. This is weird. He's also 6'4", and I'm 5'3", so me giving him a hug, my head is kind of like in his armpit. And I'm thinking to myself, I remember taking a deep breath. Man, he always smells really good. Like, this is weird, like your armpit even still smells good. Like, that's weird to me. And then I also remember thinking, like, man, kind of dizzy. Like, I wonder if that's weird. And then I woke up. And I was on the living room floor, and he had his arm bracing the back of my neck, and his other arm was like squeezing onto my arm. And he was shaking my arm and yelling at me and screaming my name. This man that I have loved for the last 10 years, that I have watched tower over me for the last 10 years, was screaming and crying because I was laying on the floor, unconscious, as our kids sat at the table eating their dinner. I've never heard his voice shake before. I've never heard fear in my husband's voice. I've known him since high school. I've never heard anything in his voice other than strength and protection and safety and home. So to hear fear in his voice made me reevaluate everything in my life. And I can remember yelling at him, like, babe, I'm fine. I'm listening, I swear to you I'm listening. I just dozed off for a second. I'm not really sure what I was trying to convince him that I was listening to. I just felt like I needed to make him think that I was okay. So I was like, no, babe, it's fine. Like, I dozed off for a second. Like, we're good, we're here. And so I don't remember if I stood up myself or if he picked me up. But then I was standing, and he was kneeling down beside me, and his arms were still wrapped around my waist. And his heart, I could feel his heart beating on the side of my leg. He just kept saying that he was so scared. And he said that when he hugged me, I started to go limp, and he thought it was a joke. He thought I was just playing. And then within seconds, my entire body went limp. And he caught me before I hit the ground and laid me on the ground. And he said that he had been screaming my name probably 10 times. And I only heard him twice. When I finally came to, and I got up and I started looking around for my glasses, we found them on the floor in my office, and they were underneath a plastic bag that had a broken terracotta pot in it. It's a large, large pot, and one of the cats had like pushed it over. And so it was broken completely in half, jagged edges. That is the direction that I was falling in, and that's the exact spot where my head would have landed had my husband not caught me. Had David not been there and hugged me at that exact second, this story would have ended completely differently, and it would have had a different author. I say all this not to bum people out or to make people sad that I passed out for no reason that we still don't have an explanation for. But again, this is more so I want to share with you what that gave me. Again, I don't say that, I'm not saying that I saw the white light and then I was prepared to cross over or anything like that, but having to take a moment and sit and look at your life and realize, am I living in my purpose? Was it all worth it? Did I do everything that I could have done if my life were to end here today on March 29th, 2020? Am I okay with that? Am I okay with what I've left my children with? Am I okay with what I've left my husband with? Am I okay with the impact that I've made on this world? Am I okay with the way that I've made the people in my life feel on a daily basis? My answer was yes. It's hard sometimes to acknowledge whether or not you're living in your purpose, because I feel like we get so caught up in what's on social media and we find other people's purpose and we find different ways to move through life that feel like it's what we're supposed to be doing. And that's not necessarily the case all the time. I know that my purpose is making people feel like they matter and that they are deserving of love and all of the good things in this world where they are right now. You don't have 10 extra pounds you need to lose. You don't have $100,000 that you need to make before the year is over, before you are deserving of love and of all of the good things that you put out into this world and that you want to get back. There is nothing left that you need to do before you can stand in your purpose and acknowledge the fact that you are worthy where you're at. This is one of my favorite pictures in the world. This was not taken by me. This was taken by Kevin Lowry, who's an absolutely incredible photographer, and he was kind enough to let me use this. But when I think purpose-fueled passion, I always think Stacey Abrams. This woman knows her purpose in this life, and she wakes up living it daily. She has it listed on her website that her purpose is to make Georgia a place where all of the residents of Georgia feel like they have their voices heard, and all eligible voters are able to do that, right? This photo was taken in 2018. Stacey Abrams was running for governor at the time, and she was the first Black woman in US history to be a major party's nominee for governor. She lost. After she lost, she created an organization called Fair Fight. And regardless of who you voted for in this election, Fair Fight registered over 800,000 first-time voters this year. That is what living in your purpose looks like. That is the impact that you make when you are allowing your purpose to fuel your passion, when you are allowing your purpose to be the catalyst for the things that you do on a daily basis. You have the potential to impact over 800,000 people, and in turn, impact the entire country and the entire world. During this speech, she said to her community, "Friends, we are still on the verge of history, and the best is yet to come, because this is not about me, it's about us." So what now? I don't want to give you all this information, and you guys hear all the incredible presenters that were here today. I don't want you to just go home and that just be the end of it. So a few months ago, I read a quote on Facebook, and it said that procrastination is the arrogant assumption that God owes you another opportunity to do the thing that you had the time to do today. So my challenge for you today is to believe that you are worth every good thing in this world now. Don't procrastinate on it. Don't wait on it. And don't continue to allow yourself to believe that you have to do one more thing. You have to make X amount more. You have to lose 10 more pounds before you are worthy. I challenge you today to stop the procrastination, to dig deep and realize whether or not you are living in your purpose, and if you are not, to start doing that today. Who are you inspiring when you do? And who are you letting down when you don't? Thank you.